Okay, so what we're going to have a look at today is gift aid donations, and that's when an individual makes a contribution to a charity. So what we need to have a look at is first of all the idea behind it and why we have these calculations. Then we need to have a look at the contribution Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs makes towards this calculation. Then we need to have a look at the calculations for a basic rate taxpayer and then the calculations for a higher rate taxpayer. So the idea behind this gift aid contribution is that Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs are trying to encourage us to give to charity. What we can do is make a gift to charity and we can get tax relief on that. However, when we do that in everyday life, I may just ring up Oxfam or make a donation to Comic Relief. Now that donation will be out of my hard-earned money which has been taxed. So the reason why we need the calculation for this is to get back the tax relief, because I've given the donation after it's been taxed. So therefore we need a little calculation to make sure we do get the tax relief for our donations to charity. Okay, so let's assume I give £78 to charity, for example Oxfam. Now, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs assume that that has been taxed, and they assume it has been taxed at 22%. Okay, so what happens is I give that £78 to Oxfam, and they say thank you very much. Now, that has been taxed. Because I'm earning money, that has been taxed. So therefore, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs say, I am going to give that tax back. But they are not going to give it to me. They are going to give it to the charity. So I give £78 to the charity. Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs say, okay, that has been taxed. So the £78 is after 22% tax. So all they're going to do is say the £78 represents 78%. So therefore, divide 78 by 78% and times it by 22%, which will give me the tax amount. So this works out, for this example, at £22. So I give £78 to the charity, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs gives £22 to the charity. Overall, the charity claims £100, they get £100. 78 from us, 22% from Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. And that is why when you give money to charity, they will ask you if you would like to make it under the gift aid donation, or they might ask you whether you are working. And that's so they can then go and claim the 22% from Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. Okay, now there's two separate calculations for a basic rate taxpayer and a higher rate taxpayer. Now, for a basic rate taxpayer, there is actually no calculation for us to do, because the charity does the hard work. They fill out a form and claim that 22% back from Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. So therefore, in our income tax computation, all we need to do is just ignore any gift aid contributions for a basic rate taxpayer. Now for a higher rate taxpayer, they pay tax at 40%. Now if they have given a gift to charity, the charity will have claimed 22% from Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, and that's fine. However, that means they've only got relief at 22%, and what they should do is be getting relief at 40%. So we need a way of making sure they get the extra 18% relief. And we do that by increasing their basic rate band. So let's have a look at a higher rate taxpayer example. Laura earns £42,000 a year. Okay, so she is going to be a higher rate taxpayer. And she makes a gift under the gift aid scheme of £1,170. Now remember, that represents 78% of the gift. and the charity will get 100% by claiming back the 22% extra. However, Laura needs 40% relief in total, so she can increase her basic rate band and get the extra relief. Now, this is a really important bit to remember. You increase the basic rate band by the gross gift. The net gift is 1,170, which represents 78%. So the gross gift we have to gross up. So we have to say, okay, 1,170 is the net, the gross gift is 1,170 divided by 78 times 100. And that will give us 1,500. That's what we're going to increase our basic rate band by. So the normal basic rate band is 34,600. So therefore, Laura's basic rate band will now go from 34,600 up to 36,100, which is just the 34,600 we normally get plus the 1,500 extra. So let's have a look at the impact on Laura's tax return and Laura's income tax computation. Okay, so we said she earns £42,000 a year. Now, what we must have done already, which we did before, was increase the basic rate band because she made this gift aid donation. We put in the income tax comp, the first thing we put her employment income of £42,000. Fine. Then we take off her personal allowance of 5,225. That gives us net income of 36,775. There's no other income to put in because there's no savings or dividends income in the question. Okay, so then it's on to calculating the income tax liability. Now what we need to remember from before is that the basic rate band is now 36,100. So the next 2230 is at 10%. So that gives us 223. Now normally the next 32,370 is at 22%, which it is. So we'll tax that, and that gives us 7,121. Now this is the exciting bit. Because we've increased our basic rate band, we get an extra amount at 22%. And that is the amount of the gift aid donation. The gift aid donation was 1,500, so that's at 22% as well. That gives me 330. We've then used our basic rate band, which was the normal 32,370 plus the extra 1,500. That should then leave me with 675 left, which I haven't taxed. Now that's at the higher rate of 40%. So tax that gives us 270. Adding all that up on your calculator gives us a total income tax liability of 7,944. Now that is less than it would be if she hadn't made the gift aid donation, because we've got the extra 1,500 at 22% as opposed to 40%, so we end up paying less tax.